Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff they went through. From Atari to Shrek, they know every line. Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Late Sally's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers toys, they twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passion and both. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat, from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get told. Talking Ghostbusters, Proton Packs, Toys in the Box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocks. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Geeky Geezers, otherwise known as the Old Man Yells at Cloud stream. I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. I'm your host.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli. And with us is the Geezette Netter of Netters Network. Welcome.
Good evening.
So, yes, I don't know, man. Have we become the old men yelling at the clouds? Yell at the studios, we might as well be yelling at the clouds.
I don't know. I hope that if people are bothering to listen to what we have to say, hopefully we're having more impact than just yelling at clouds. Maybe people are listening and thinking a little bit. I think that's what I've been trying to get people to understand in the past 24 hours or so. Everyone likes to, jump to the party line and whoo, yeah, America, F yeah. And it's like, okay, would you have said that under a different administration? Just saying. It's never as cut and dry as we always assume. So yes, I would like to think that we can offer alternate opinions and give our reasons why, and maybe everyone can think for themselves. We did a lot of that on Friday when I was talking about one of my winners for 2025 that
yes.
I'm seeing a lot of people not really liking, and
I'm on episode 4. I'm getting there. I'm on episode 4.
Oh, okay.
So I'll have my own.
Oh, so you're not even really halfway through the season there.
No, I'm getting there.
No, that's fine. No hurry. I mean,
but I do want to say hi to everyone in the chat. Welcome, Big Al. Have a great show, Geezers. I was on with Al this Friday. We did 2 more episodes of Robin of Sherwood.
Sorry, I was trying to help you out there, and I just took it down.
Which is now on Amazon Prime streaming, if any of you have that. Actually, Robin of Sherwood's on everywhere, it seems, except Blu-ray.
Well,
it had a very limited Blu-ray release back in the day, and I think at that point I had just bought the DVD set. And then I think I later considered getting the Blu-ray set, but by that point it was gone. And I'm like it was one of these things that was like a limited release, like you bought it through a website. So we're
Oh,
still waiting for a Blu-ray release of that. So we'll see. But chat is now open to everyone. It's open to everyone on my channel too. If you're, as long as you're a subscriber, subscribe.
as long as you've been a subscriber for the past 6 years, right?
Show any duration. Lady, funny man. Lady Mist, welcome. Get lots of blue hearts and stars and snowflakes, it looks like. Welcome, Netter of Netters Network, who's in the chat. So, I mean, who's in the studio, so never mind. But thank you for the hi, sweetie. And Connie Cleary, welcome. JPRPH1, welcome. Let's see here. Deleted Scenes, welcome. Unscripted Raid, great. D Pensec, welcome. Grab the denture cream. Did I already say this? It's time for the Geeky Geezers. Did I already say that? Okay. You know, I'm not there yet. Still got my teeth. Thank you very much. Had a BLT for lunch today. I could have had biscuits.
Good.
I could have had biscuits and gravy. We were at Bob Evans, but I went with the BLT instead because I felt like a BLT today.
Awesome. I could have had a BLT today, but I did not.
BLTs are nice.
I made a macaroni and cheese. You know how they do recipes online for your favorite restaurants and stuff. I found a recipe for Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese.
Really?
Yeah, pretty darn good. Yeah, it was probably the creamiest macaroni and cheese I've ever actually made. It was good.
Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, welcome. Yeah, I found some guy. There are people online who do the copycat recipes all the time. I've
Right.
seen
That was what I was trying to think of, the term copycat recipes. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Conroy, welcome. Hail all, smash the like button and enjoy the show. Yes, well, we'll be getting right to that, man. I got to tell you, I'm kind of like, okay, the break's over. I want news coming through. Now we have news tonight. Don't get me wrong, because we had some stuff we didn't cover, but I want to know what the verdict is on the Netflix Warner sale, and I already know what the verdict is, but I want it to be official.
Yep.
It's not going to be good. They really need to be worrying out there in Hollywood land. Go ahead and bring the presentation up. Let's get to this. Let's talk about.
Oh, that's right. The presentation. There we go. What are we talking about today? What are we talking about today?
Today's year is 2026, and if you take 26 and you times it by 2, what do you get?
You want me to do maths? I don't.
You get 52.
Okay,
which 52. Is 12 short of 64, because we have 64 to talk about tonight.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. There we go.
And that 64 is the Commodore 64. Look at that beauty, huh?
Yes.
Look at that. Looks a lot like the Atari 800.
Is it a lot like? I don't know anything about the Atari 800, so I don't know.
It's a similar type of home computer, but except the Atari 800 had a cartridge slot in it, so you could actually plug cartridge games into it. Apparently, the Commodore 64 was all about the discs. Is that right?
Yes, it was. It was shifting away from cartridges to discs, which meant that you can save files, you could save games. You could save programs that you wrote. I remember writing programs on the Commodore.
Yes.
In BASIC. And you had to, because the computer itself did not have a hard drive of any kind.
That's right.
It would revert to factory default every time. So you would have to go in and set parameters and then load whatever program you were going to run. And then from that, you would load whatever saves you had related to that program.
So these are future computers we're going to be getting on the market now, since there's not going to be any RAM available, right? I'm kidding. I'm just...
Actually, now that you say that, but see, but it's RAM that we'd be lacking, not hard drive.
Booger has a good question here. 64. Why was it called 64? The Commodore 64. What is the significance of the number 64?
I want to say
Because
this
I
had
failed
to
63 other times.
Right,
Don't
exactly
choke.
right. Wasn't it like a 64-bit or something
Yeah.
like
Not
that?
64
bits,
bit.
because it
No.
was an 8-bit
Bytes?
computer, right? Bytes, maybe that's what it meant to. You know what? You could always ask Alexa.
Alexa, why was the Commodore 64 called the Commodore 64?
From IGN.com. Eventually, the console was named the Nintendo 64. With the
Not
64
Nintendo.
named to
Shut up, you
the
dumbass.
processor
Alexa,
that
shut up. You can't even listen for crying out loud. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna
Wait.
ask Grok.
Alexa, how did the Commodore 64 get its name?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for
Yeah.
that.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Let me ask Eve. Hold on a second. Eve, can you tell me please how the Commodore 64 came to be called the Commodore 64? "64 kilobytes of RAM." That's
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's what Big Al just said.
Thank you, Eve.
64 kilobytes of RAM, and thank you, Eve, as well. And someone in the chat just mentioned they had one, kibbles and bits and bytes and bits, kibbles and bits and bits. Oh, kibble. Okay, yes. I remember those commercials. I have a question. This monitor, could you buy it, or did people just hook it up to the TV?
I was going to say, I have no idea. I mean, obviously you could buy it. There's a picture of it right there. I heard people had Commodore monitors, but that really was just a television screen. I used an old black and white TV we had around the house.
Look at that. Okay, yeah, that's what we used for our Atari computer at first, yeah. Because, again, these computers, too, they could display things in black and white just as good as color, so yeah.
I do have to say that, full disclosure, I didn't actually have a 64. I actually was late to the game, and I got a 128. Honestly, basically the same, just more RAM. It was 128 as opposed to 64, twice as much. But it did, okay, and here's one other peripheral I did not have. I did not have the tape deck. So, honestly, so much better to work off of disc. I would have been every time I was at somebody's house or even at school when we were using the tape decks, it was so frustrating. You'd have to fast forward and you'd have to rewind and flip it over. It's like, oh, screw this.
We had a tape deck for the Atari 800 computer, which I guess was a similar idea between the one and the Commodore. And when we got the disk drive, oh, this is so much better, because the tape deck would take forever to load the game.
Yes, it literally had to play the whole thing all the way through. So, of course, the disc was random access, so it would just go to the sector it needed, get the information it needed. The other great thing about the discs was they were so easy to copy. You could easily make a copy, and if you had one of those copy guards on it, all you do is take a hole punch and punch a little clip out of the side, and
what?
Yep. Exactly.
And make as many copies as you want. Thieves, piracy. This was before the high seas. You had the Thieves Guild in town, basically.
So,
okay, yes.
Well, there was actually two ways you could copy. Okay, if it was a particularly heavy duty program, you could copy disc to disc. And, go over to a buddy's house, play a game. Hey, can I get a copy of that? Sure. Give me a disc. Give him a disc. He'd make me a copy. Wonderful. Some games, you could recreate them by hand by typing it out in BASIC. There was a Star Wars text game that was not commercially available. It was published in a magazine. I had it, and I wrote it out by hand and then played the game. It kind of defeats the point of playing the game, though, because it's like typing in, or it's like writing a twist-a-plot book and then sitting down to play the twist-a-plot book. It's
Well,
like, I already know all of the branches here.
it
You
kind of
know?
defeats the purpose. I get you, but you could maybe have fun with your friends with it then, at least.
Exactly. It was a lot. It really was. It was a lot of fun. And there was a randomization to it. I mean, basically, you'd go, you were in the Death Star, and you describe kind of like, think about Zork. It was like Zork. Turn left, turn right, go down this way. You had to map it out and everything. And you would randomly run into stormtroopers. You would randomly, and occasionally you'd run into Darth Vader. And yeah. It was actually a pretty cool game. I liked it. But I did not get it. Well, ostensibly, I didn't get it for gaming. I got it, and I was in grade school at the time, but I was getting close to going into high school, and my mom said that computers were the way of the future. You got to learn computers. She actually had me take a class in high school on basic programming. That's also where I learned how.
Was Richard Pryor from Superman 3 also in that class?
Yeah, well, that's when I saw that movie. I was one of the early.
Well, I'm really getting
nerd-
this stuff. That was the weird thing with Richard Pryor. Like, he failed at everything else, but as soon as they sat in front of a computer, suddenly he was like a
Which
savant, which is
actually
interesting.
It
Yes,
isn't bad storytelling
yes,
because yeah, absolutely possible. I mean,
it is. Yes,
that's but he put such a goofiness into it. Plus, they did, like so many movies in the 80s, they didn't bother paying attention to what was actually possible with computers. And so even as a kid, I was watching this going, that's not how computers work. Okay, never mind. But
look
I
at
did.
this. It's not how little it costs; it's how much you get. I heard Nintendo's going to
Yeah.
use a variant of this slogan. It's not how much it costs; it's how little you get. Up for the Switch 2. I'm kidding.
Well, we'll
kidding.
get there. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves, but you're absolutely right.
I'm sorry. That's how I feel now about modern consoles, anyway. But
But
moving on, though, yeah.
I noticed you also were showing there a dot matrix printer. Now, again, that
Yes,
wasn't the model that I had. I had in theory, slightly better one that had this this section that hooked onto the back so that you could feed envelopes, and I had all kinds of stuff.
That's fancier than what we had.
Oh, I had real fancy, but I used it to write papers for when I went into high school. I'd type up all my papers for high school. I took a typing class in the summer before my freshman year in high school, but then I had my mother get me a program for the Commodore I think it was called Mavis Teaches Typing or something like that.
Yeah, Mavis.
I remember Mavis Teaches Typing, yeah.
And I used to practice on that. Also, I had her get me Chessmaster 2000.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yes, and then of course in high school I went into the chess club.
I love the Chess Master games. I'm sad those kind of fell off. Maybe they still exist on PC. I don't know, but they never really truly released those on consoles. That was always a PC thing. But they always gave you classical music to play the matches with, which I thought was a nice touch.
Oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was and I can't say that I don't really remember buying a lot of games. I did buy a game. I bought the Star Trek game, the Kobayashi Alternative. Very interesting.
That sounds
idea.
Interesting.
It was like you were taking the Kobayashi Maru, but it was a variation from the one shown in Star Trek 2. Very interesting.
Well, I would imagine too that maybe in Star Trek they had variants of the Kobayashi Maru test too. Like maybe they made newer ones.
That's strongly implied by some tests that you see. Will Wheaton's character Wesley taking when he goes to the academy,
because you don't want everyone to expect they're getting the same one, right? Because then they would just
exactly. Eventually, people all know what the test is and to expect it. But yeah.
Do you like this? We promise you won't use the Commodore 64 more than 24 hours a day. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly right. And it was the kind of situation where, and they would do this in ads like this, where you'd have a brother and sister fighting over it, mother and father fighting over it, and so forth. I was just blessed that I was the only person in the house using the computer. It was basically my computer. And my mother would be like, you got to show me how to use that so I could use it to type and this and that. And I try to show her, and she go, oh, this is too complicated. I'm better off with just using the typewriter. Not and don't be mistaken. I would borrow her typewriter from time to time if I needed to fill out a form or something like that. That was way too hard to try and do on a dot matrix printer.
I remember the dot matrix printers. They had the little holes punched in the sides, and then you could rip those slips of paper off so they wouldn't be on your paper when you were done with them. I remember those. I figured I'd talk a little bit about some of the games on the Commodore 64. You may not have had these, but I figured I'd throw these up here. Jumpman. You familiar at all with Jumpman?
I do not know Jumpman. Wasn't that the name of Mario before he became Mario?
I think it was, and I think that this is a kind of their own answer to Donkey Kong. Of course,
this looks familiar. Wait a minute. See, there was okay. We saw this as a Commodore knockoff of Donkey Kong. I saw this. A buddy of mine had it. I didn't bother to copy it. I wasn't fired up about it.
Well, these are very more basic games. Like if this came out on the Atari 800, it would have been on a cartridge, not a floppy, probably. But
I see.
Impossible Mission. You know this one. Come on.
I don't think so.
It had voice in it. It was like, stay a while, stay forever, or whatever, the evil guy. It's almost like a Impossible Mission you can gather from the title. This is like spy espionage type thing, right? You know, like,
interesting. I do not remember this.
Well, we're gonna keep going through these, but you play this little character.
Oh, those are pretty cool graphics.
Yeah, and you'd go up the elevator, and if you fell, he would go, ah! You know, it was showing off the sound capabilities of the Commodore 64.
Yep.
All right, let's see. I'm doing a lot of these Epix games in here. California games.
Was that like a collection of different games?
Yes.
I seem to kind of remember that. Yeah.
The big one was
Clue Studio says, remember when a word processor was a whole machine? Yeah, I do. Although I had a word processor for the Commodore. In fact, the first word processor I got, you could do it in like, the DOS screen, or you could use what was called WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, and it helped with formatting, but it required a lot more memory.
See the surfing?
Yeah.
You could do hacky sack, because apparently hacky sack is a California game. Kids play in California, I assume. Okay, and skateboarding was another one.
Yep.
So, I remember I mentioned this was on the Atari Lynx, but it was on the Commodore 64 first. All right. The Last Ninja.
Yep.
Ringing a bell at all? Maybe.
I've seen it. I didn't play it, but yeah,
gotcha.
I've seen it.
Look at that, man. You're the Last Ninja, and you
actually, some of these look better than some of the games they're doing now.
The graphics do get better on this. Now, this is still what I would call, and I believe the Commodore, much like the Atari 100, these were 8-bit computers. And of course, when I think of 8-bit, I think of the old Nintendo for the the old Nintendo, the Sega Master System, that 8 bits, sophisticated for the time. But because like I said, you see that ninja picture, you can tell that's a ninja by the graphics.
Right.
Let's see here though. Archon.
I had Archon. Oh, I love this. So we were just talking about Chess Master. This was basically battle chess.
Yes.
So it wasn't enough to make a clever move. You didn't win automatically when you would take a piece. You'd have to fight for that piece.
You'd have to fight the other thing on the board, and it would go into this arena, and then you'd suddenly your Pegasus might be fighting a basilisk on the other side. And Light and Dark, like like the right side has like mythical creatures and things that are good creatures, right? Like things like the Pegasus. On the other side, you have things like the Basilisk or Medusa or something like that. It's called a game of Light and Dark. We had this on the Atari computer. It's probably very similar to your Commodore version, actually. In fact, I hate to say this, back in the day, sometimes you would buy a game for your Atari 800 computer, and it would give you a Commodore disc and a Atari disc. or maybe the Commodore would be on one side of the disc and the Atari version would be on the other side of the disc. So
Interesting.
they,
See, I everything that I got on disc, so I didn't have the cartridges for any of these.
Wasn't the last Ninja Lee Van Cleef funny?
Lee Van Cleef.
Those are these made for TV movies. They watched them
Right.
on MST3K a while back. Battle Chess on the PC. Oh, I love Battle Chess. I don't know if Battle Chess ever made it to the Commodore. A lot did though, so it wouldn't shock me if there was a version of it on there. Spy versus Spy.
I remember playing this at a buddy's house. I didn't actually have it myself.
This was a brilliant 2-player game. You could also play it against the computer, but the idea behind it was it's from the Mad Magazine comic books. You have the white spy and the black spy, right? And you would set up traps for each other, and you could set up like you could rig something up so where you get electrocuted if you try to open the door, and then your spy dies, and you see the version of him with the wings going up.
Exactly.
Going up into heaven, I guess. And then you'd get the character back, but you lose time whenever you would die. Do you understand? And
yes,
they did 2 sequels to this. They did one called Island Adventures, which is the 2 spies stuck on a desert on a deserted island, and then they did an Arctic one where they were in Antarctica, and that was the 3rd one.
Wow, interesting.
I think many people haven't played those. They did port this to the NES, but I don't think it was the same because I think they didn't have it wasn't as sophisticated. It didn't have as many traps you could make for the other spy. But there's a picture of it. See, pretty good graphics. You can tell what those are. And by Mike Riddell. You know what that means by Mike Riddell? That means a single guy made this game.
Yes.
That's how it was back in the day. It would not be a team. It's funny. I remember looking at my old guide for Yoshi's Island before the flood took it. And in the guide, Nintendo has made its biggest team yet for this game. And it was something like 15 people working on the game. And I'm like, oh, salad days. Because, of course, now you have 1,500 people or something working on a game. Actually, we're probably going back to the days of being single creators working on stuff again, though, because I noticed a lot of the indie titles are made by small teams or maybe one person. But yeah, the idea was you had to get the briefcase and get to the helicopter for the other spy.
That is a pretty cool idea, and it's also with that whole very tongue-in-cheekish type of feel to it.
Did you have this?
Exodus Ultima 3.
Look at that cover. Wow.
I know. And yes, I do believe Ultima 3. I think this was my first Ultima game. This was one that a buddy of my uncle's had, and I loved it so much. I played it a lot at his house, and then I ended up getting Ultima 4 eventually.
What was Ultima 4? Adept with the sorcerer on the cover, as I recall, right?
No. Ultima 4 was Quest of the Avatar.
That's right.
And
I'm thinking of a different
it came with a cloth map and a couple of books that came with it. I remember that one. My uncle's buddy said, "Yeah, I'll make you a copy of this," and he made me a copy of the game, and then he had to copy all the books and the map, and the map was hard because it was literally a Xerox of a color map.
Don't think these creators of these games thinking, "Oh, we're giving you some nice swag," but that's only part of it. It's also so you just go out and buy the regular game instead of making a copy.
Well, that's exactly right, and I'm all for that. That's the best kind of copy guard. Make it so good that you want the original. You don't want a copy, Of
course, those are the graphics, but keep in mind, this was pretty sophisticated for the time. This was a full-on role-playing game, correct?
It really was. And by the way, I now have this game on Steam, Ultima 3 and Ultima 4.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, did one of these Ultima games come with an Ankh, as I recall? Like the Egyptian Ankh.
Yeah, I don't remember which one because the Ankh was used as a symbol for the Avatar in.
I remember messing
Ultima
around
4.
with it as a child. Yeah, so yeah.
And then every subsequent game incorporated the Ankh as a story element. So I'm sure that one of the later games probably did have some sort of a doodah that came with the game.
These character names, whoever made this up, they're being funny. One of them is named Robotron.
Okay.
That was another game, Robotron. All right, moving on to Zork.
Love Zork. I had all 4 of the Zork games and got through none of them.
These
same here.
These were text adventure games. Now,
Yes, they
we
were.
could almost do a whole good old days on text adventures. Basically, these did not have graphics. These were, you would read the text on the computer, and then you would type in commands to see where you would go next.
Yep.
So before we had the graphic adventure games, we had text adventure games, and this was Zork. And this was made by Infocom, and these were kind of neat though, because you got a lot of swag inside the boxes with them to kind of help you along with the game.
Yeah, so you would and yeah, part of the text was you could type in inventory and see what you were carrying and so forth. It kept track of how much you could carry, so you might have to drop something to pick up something else. Usually that thing would stay where it was, but there was a thief that was going around the dungeon too that might pick it up and run off with it. But then, the thief might drop something and you could pick it up from him too.
There you go. You had to pay attention while you were reading this text. I had Wishbringer. That was the one made for a younger audience. That Infocom did. So I got that because I was younger at the time. So, and I think it was set. Was it set in the Zork universe? I think it was, because I think there was what do they call the nasty creatures in this? Gru?
The Gru.
Yeah.
Netta and I still talk about that. When we're getting ready to go to bed and I turn off the light, she goes, we're going to be eaten by a Gru. It's dark. Very
funny. Yeah. So, and I think there was one in Wishbringer, even though I think it wasn't as difficult as Zork. So it was like for a younger set. And here's Spellbreaker. That was another series they did, the Enchanter series, I think. There was like 3 games in that. And of course, we also had the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the video game written by Douglas Adams himself.
Right.
He wrote the game. All the text you read in the game, that was written by him. He adapted his own book into a game. Yeah, that was kind of neat. If you got this, you got a little "Don't Panic" button. Remember?
Yep.
You could put on your shirt or something. Let me see here though, and are we wrapping things up? I guess we are. I don't know if you had this game, but text adventure games gave way to graphic
kind of
adventure
point and
games,
click type games.
Yeah. This is prior point and click because I don't think we had mice yet, so you had to type in commands in the keyboard. But this is Transylvania. And very similar to one of these text adventure games, but their graphics now. As you see.
I didn't play this particular game, but now that I see this format, I know the basic type of game. Yeah,
a lot like Infocom game, but now they started adding graphics, and that's a werewolf.
Right.
You're in Transylvania, so you have to figure out a way to evade the werewolf. And I think that's where I leave off. But yeah, this was the Commodore 64. And basically, there was a point in time where if you wanted to play games, you needed to get one of these computers because we had the big video game crash.
Right.
So all the consoles went under, and it was a while before the NES came out, and a lot of people were going out and they were buying these computers. The kids wanted the computers for school. Hint, hint, they wanted it for the games.
Right. And honestly, that was how I started being a computer guy over consoles.
And this is sort of where PC gaming, I think, begins right here.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I think you're right.
So moving on to here we are in tonight, but that's okay. We're not quite done. That's a werewolf. Yes, it is. Can't you see the claws on the hand?
And the pointy ears.
You know what? It's all we had, and we were happy to have it. All right.
That's true. Back then, we thought that was so cool.
Better than Pong. Okay, Geeky Geezers. But we do have a story tonight because guess what's back?
The Commodore 64. That's why we were talking about it. Yeah.
This is a Wired review. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing, but I probably will because I do like this review. This thing exists.
Yes.
Someone has made a Commodore 64. Not like a mini console with a plug and play thing. This is an actual working Commodore 64. It's hard to This is from Wired magazine. It's hard to overstate just how seismic an impact the Commodore 64 had on home computing. Launched in 1982, the 8-bit machine, iconic in its beige plastic shell with integrated keyboard. correct me if I'm wrong. Was the beige shell to prevent fire? Like it was a fire retardant plastic? Is that why?
In theory.
Yeah. Went on to become best-selling
Which
personal
also,
computer.
when it just aged over time, it got brittle and turned like a yellowish brown.
Oh, this is interesting. Went on to become the best-selling personal computer of all time. Really? I guess because newer computers always had different models coming out. Despite the
Yep.
success, manufacturer Commodore International folded in 1994 with rights to the name floating around for years afterwards. Then retro gaming YouTuber Christian Perry Frantic Simpson got the bright idea to buy the company wholesale and recreate its most important piece of hardware. This isn't the first ever to resurrect the Commodore 64, but this is a particularly reborn. This particularly reborn rig might be the best attempt yet. It's a near perfect replica of the 43-year-old Titan, one that looks, sounds, and feels like the original. It is, by any measure, a frankly extraordinary achievement, but it's not going to be for everyone. So, as you've often said, I guess the fans are making the best stuff. So, this
Absolutely.
was someone who was a fan of the Commodore 64, just bought the company. So, it's dubbed the Commodore 64 Ultimate. The old new or new old device looks like a relic of the 1980s, and I mean that as a compliment. It bears the same all-in-one wedge-shaped design as the original, the same chunky keys, even the same overall color palette for the beige model. It's also available in a transparent Starlight model with RGB lighting, and for early buyers, a Golding Founders Edition. Well, that just isn't accurate.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the distinctly unyellowed plastic shell, it could be mistaken at a glance for the real thing, leftover stock straight from 1982. For some, that will be the most compelling thing about the C64U. It is the real thing, sort of. At its core, this is a field programmable gate array FPGA device, an approach most often seen to recreate classic game consoles, as with the recent analog 3D remake of the Nintendo 64. To strip the idea right back, FPGAs tell one chipset to pretend it's another, and ideally allow for performance near identical to the original machine at a hardware level rather than through emulation. I have one of these types of devices. It's the Retro USB AVS. Retro, I think that's what it's called, and it's a high definition Nintendo 64, but it's done using a similar thing with an FPGA board, telling the console you are a Nintendo. Okay, from
Wow,
the 80s,
interesting.
yes. So this goes one step further, though. This Commodore 64 boasting a heap of physical connectors and ports that allow you to use authentic peripherals from the 80s. If you still have your original joysticks or data set on hand, the cassette thing, they should all work as they did back in the day. For fans, collectors, or anyone that has their original Commodore gadgets stashed in a garage somewhere, this is a fantastic proposition. The revived Commodore International hasn't quite put up the classic hardware back into production, but this console comes close. The C64U makes a few concessions to modernity. There is a pair of USB-A ports in the rear where you can connect a cassette-shaped USB stick that comes with each unit loaded with games, software demos, music that makes use of the C64's so legendary audio capabilities, and Geo's a graphical user interface. More on that later. There's also a built-in Wi-Fi and Ethernet port allowing access to bulletin boards and the Commodore file server and HDMI output. Even there, though, there's still the option of connecting a CRT monitor, making the additions feel more like a tweak than an overhaul.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is just bizarre. This dedication to the past goes too far at times, with elements painfully authentic to the point of being actively obtuse. In 2025, original 80s labels on the casing, such as HL and RF, how the C6 were connected to a CRT monitors or TVs or user port where the HDMI, USB, and Ethernet ports are. And despite the presence of those USB ports, you can't use a modern mouse with the C64U. You'll need either a period piece or set the WASD keys to act as a virtual joystick whenever you might need to manipulate the on-screen cursor. There's almost a sense of resentment here, as if anything too modern would be a desecration of the holy hardware.
I kind of like that, though.
Yes.
Especially if the old stuff actually works with this. It's like,
it does.
You know, there's a lot of people out there that still have their old stuff, their old. Remember how the Atari 2600 joystick would work with the Commodore 64? There you go.
Well, I hear it comes with a lot of games on this cassette tape thing. I think I read somewhere it's 1,000. I
Wow.
don't know if it's that much, but the Commodore International 2020 leaning into its deliberately dated approach is another fascinating aspect of the Commodore 64 Ultimate. Let me see. Be forewarned, if you do not have first-hand experience of the original Commodore 64, a deep and abiding love for its genuinely groundbreaking era of home computing, or a burning curiosity for retro technology, C64 Ultimate is far from welcoming and is probably not for you. I wasn't around for the original, so I have no innate nostalgia to lure me back, but I can at least muster up that burning curiosity. Even then, getting used to the C64 environment is a steep learning curve.
A warning like that is like telling somebody, you know, if you are used to a modern cell phone, you know, this landline phone with the rotary, you might get annoyed by. What's wrong with you?
Well, this is the person writing it, but he brings up the point that it uses BASIC programming language. Problem is, I don't have the first clue about BASIC. However, in what is possibly the greatest story of goal, the C64U comes with a spiral-bound 273-page user guide. Did the Commodore 64? Go ahead.
273 pages ain't that bad when it basically tells you how to do just about everything in BASIC.
Yeah,
it's not that difficult a programming language.
I don't know though. User not found. Away from the proper computer, C64 was a pioneer for home gaming, and that's one area where the C64U does feel extremely accessible. The USB drive includes a host of classic and modern retro style games, and more can be added in the form of disk images if you have them. So there you go. If you were wanting to relive your Commodore 64 days of old, I guess this is it. What do you think, huh?
This does kind of intrigue me. I won't lie. Yeah.
Horror Cat Dad said basic DOS, not DOS.
Well,
DOS is probably better than what was on here.
No. I'm pretty sure it probably has a DOS operating system. I'm sure it does.
Remember Pirates of Silicon Valley, the TNT movie where Bill Gates buys, because they're selling the computers like, we don't have an operating system. They find some guy who has an operating system. They buy it. We'll buy it from you for $2,000 or something, like all rights to it. And the guy just sold it to them. It's like, you lost out on a fortune. It's like, I think this will be the way things go in the future. Retrofuturism, what happens to computers and devices, high-tech guts, but look old on the outside. Yeah, but this is not retrofuturism, because this is the old thing.
This is retro. Yeah, this is retro in every sense of it. There's very little futurism to it, except maybe the USB port.
They won't even let you use a modern mouse on this thing.
Right.
Anyway, I just thought this was funny because someone, I think, had mentioned this in the chat on one of our streams, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And I think I'd read something. I'm like, this isn't
oh my gosh,
this isn't some plug and play. This is the actual redone Commodore 64. Oh, you know what it was? It was someone at work mentioned it to me. That's right.
Oh, okay.
But back then, Prodigy assigned your ID, which was your email. It was, oh yes, Prodigy. Remember Prodigy?
Yes, I do remember Prodigy.
But anyway, if you're so desiring to go back to the 80s, now I don't think this thing is super cheap, but I don't think it's quite the $5.99 that the original was. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to modern gaming, where a RAM price increases could see next generation console releases delayed. It's funny because
no kidding. I saw this and I was like, oh, shocker.
It's funny, Jesse Grotto had mentioned, are we all going to go back to the PlayStation 2 where you just had to stick a memory card to save your stuff and everything was on disc? And I'm thinking, yeah, we might be headed back there.
Right.
I love the PlayStation 2, so I don't mind going back there. But Insider Gaming has learned that the outgoing price increases in RAM due to the rise in AI could delay the next generation of console releases. We mentioned the rumor during the Insider Gaming Weekly episode on December 19th, where we mentioned that we had heard that there are already ongoing talks at the high levels on what the RAM availability could mean for the next generation. From what we've heard, the industry as a whole is concerned about RAM availability, as they should be, and what that is going to mean for mass-producing consoles at a competitive price point. I've already heard that Nintendo's going to be jacking up the price of the Switch, too, because of this, too.
Shocker. I am just shocked. You could knock me over and I could die of not surprise.
Not only for the next generation, but it could also mean yet more price increases for current generation consoles will hit us in 2026. RAM modules have increased in price by several 100% in the past few months due to the demand for AI. With the pursuit of AI seemingly not going away anytime soon, RAM availability could continue to be a bottleneck, or at the very least, the RAM shortage will mean the prices will continue to hike. It leaves console producers in a very tricky spot moving forward, and while consoles have traditionally been subsidized to a certain extent in the past, it seems like RAM availability and price increases will mean that the next generation of consoles, which were already believed to be much higher in price than the previous generations, could be extortionate. Um, I need to go off on a little rant here. The reason why
Well,
game
wait,
go
before you
ahead.
do that, I did want to bring up who was it? It was D Pensac. Where's your comment? I don't know if I can find it quickly. I'm just going to read it off my screen.
Sure.
David Pensac says the Commodore 64 Ultimate is pricing at $299.99 for $300. I don't know, man. You could get a good R2 droid from Home Depot these days for that much.
Like an actual robot.
There actually was this past year for Christmas. They had a 90% scale R2D2 animatronic that you'd put like Christmas lights on.
And you could send your R2D2 to go steal a PlayStation 6 for you. There you go.
Well, maybe. Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, and I don't know, man. I feel, here's my rant though. What I'm going with. Back in the day, the reason why gaming consoles existed is that people couldn't afford fancy PCs. Let's not cut the short of it. If you didn't have a ton of money, you couldn't go out and buy a real fancy PC to game on. You would buy a video game console, and they were more affordable, and you could get a great gaming experience on them, which was in a lot of ways different from what you'd get on PC, but still pretty cool. That's why the split happened. But the problem is that now the consoles have basically, in a lot of respects, become like a lot like PCs, and they're now being affected by all these RAM prices. So y'all got to figure out something else to do. You got to change up. And frankly, I'm looking directly at Nintendo. Nintendo is the easiest one because they could just come out with make a new version of the Game Boy. Because I'm sorry, at 450 and climbing, no one's going to be treating a Switch 2 like a proper portable game system.
Right.
Come out with a cheap alternative for kids. You have a huge backlog of DS, Game Boy Classic games, Game Boy Advance games. Remake them or just port them, and I think you might find that you had a market for these. I don't think Nintendo will listen to me. And those things would take up a lot less memory, and you wouldn't be. You need cheap alternatives in gaming. These can't turn into these high-end devices. I'm sorry. Anyway, what do you think?
I just still shake my head every time we even talk about consoles. It's I just really why.
Okay, I will explain to you why. Back in the day, one, the experience you got on consoles was very different from what you got on PC. So there was almost like a different game market, and that came about, I think, because of cost. I think, I saw my cousin Andrew's Amiga computer, but my dad was never going to buy us an Amiga. We were stuck with this horrible IBM compatible, but we got an NES, and later on we were able to afford the 16-bit systems, and it was cool. And plus, that was a big thing in Japan. Japan did more with consoles than America did. And America and Europe were more. I mean, never mind. You know what? You missed out, man. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
You can argue I missed out on PC gaming also. Yes.
I'm going to say, and I'm missing out on the headaches of the high prices and whatnot.
Well, this is something relatively new, and they better get a handle on this, and they better figure out some other way. And frankly, I hate to say this, I think Jessica Hardo says maybe we need to look at the way consoles used to be before you tried making them into these simpler PCs, and go back to something that's disc-based or right. I don't know. Speaking of retro, though, we're getting another Nintendo 64. Not by Nintendo.
Interesting.
Mod Retro, they already mentioned Analog had done a high definition and Nintendo 64. Mod Retro is also making this. Following up Game Boy inspired chromatics released last year, Mod Retro has finally officially revealed the design for its Nintendo 64 remake console, similar to the recently released Analog 3D. The M64 plays classic N64 cartridges in 4K through FPGA, just like that Commodore I had mentioned.
Mhm.
It's important to note that Mod Retro was founded by Palmer Luckey, a controversial tech industry figure that founded Oculus, and that's also behind defensive contractor NG Real. So what was he in his spare time? Was he making stuff to blow things up overseas? I don't know.
Probably.
Lucky has been teasing details on the M64 on the X for several months now. While we still aren't aware of every detail about the console, we now at least know what it looks like, and as expected, it features a striking design. Unlike traditional emulation, FPGA devices are configured to perform a specific function. In this case, replicating the Nintendo 64's hardware. And this results in an experience that more closely resembles the original gaming hardware. Like the far more low-key analog 3D, M64's look is inspired by Nintendo's original Nintendo 64, including the curved top, prominent controller ports, familiar cartridge slot, and a power button alongside an odd-looking dial button that's labeled Menu. It's unclear if this style will go beyond navigating the on-screen menus, but the fact that it's so prominently placed on the console hints that it might have another purpose. The back of the M64 features an HDMI port, 3 USB-C ports, and a micro SD card slot. Please let me be able to do save states on my N64 games. I'm interested in this. There are 3 designs. There's also a purple design. I'm leaning toward the purple, actually.
Okay.
Because Nintendo back in those days made a lot of stuff in the purple design, so I might pick that up. I have a full Nintendo 64 library, which I've not touched for years. They're in these gaming drawers, and I'm thinking maybe since I can't really afford to get a Switch 2 right now, maybe I'll just pretend like I'm living in the 90s and I'll play my Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64.
That might be the way to go. Yeah,
and I already own the games. And my only question is about some of these games is the whole battery thing, like with the cards. But if you could just do that through the console itself, that'll solve that problem. So, I don't know. This looks kind of cool. We still have yet to get a high definition original PlayStation or PlayStation 2 or GameCube, but I'm glad we're kind of steadily moving forward. I argued that I had a PlayStation 2 with a large library and a GameCube with a large library, and I argued those were my favorite game consoles, and they had these huge, and they would have kept me busy for years. But the trouble was they were not high definition game consoles, and I had to move over to the high definition TVs, and they weren't really optimized for those. So I'm waiting patiently to see if somebody makes high definition versions of those, but I don't know. It's neat. By the way, this company also makes a Game Boy, which plays the old Game Boy games, but they also make original games for this Game Boy. Like they have like their own Tetris cartridge they make. They have Centipede and Asteroids. They have newer versions of those made for the Game Boy Color, which you could play either on an old Game Boy or on the Game Boy Chromatic that they made. So we make it original titles for this thing too. So it's neat. That's all. It's neat. It's what's old is new again. All right. And it also has 64 in the title, like the Commodore. Now we get depressing news. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said.
All right. Disney fined millions for alleged child privacy violations. The Justice Department announced on Tuesday that it has resolved a case against Disney Worldwide Services Incorporated and Disney Entertainment Operations Limited, or LLC, as that's what that means. A federal court has ordered Disney to pay $10 million in civil penalties to resolve Federal Trade Commission allegations that Disney violated the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. After an investigation by the Federal Trade Commission, it was alleged that Disney's YouTube channel was knowingly collecting user information from children under 13. The YouTube algorithm tracks what videos users watch and shows ads based on activity, depending on the video's classification. However, by law, clear parental consent is required before any data is gathered or used for targeted advertising at children. Yeah, this is correct. YouTube enforces this too, don't they? So
exactly.
So Disney really is violating even the rules YouTube set up. A complaint was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California, alleging that Disney had failed to label kid-directed videos on the platform in direct violation of COPPA. The Justice Department notes that Disney's YouTube content generates billions of views. This means that improperly classified kid-directed content can generate substantial advertising revenue. The federal government becomes involved when revenue is generated from marketing the children without parental involvement or consent. COPPA was established in 1998 and went into effect in 2000. Framed as a measure for consumer protection, it regulates data collection in regards to children. Since websites are able to track user preferences and locations without an email or knowingly shared information, COPPA is designed to limit what information is gathered and allow parents to review or delete their children's information. The law covers online content like games, streaming platforms like YouTube, and apps. By failing to identify videos directed at children, the Department of Justice claims Disney was able to build ad profiles on them. YouTube specifically created the Made for Kids category to comply with COPPA. When an account uploads a video, it asks if the video is for children. Alternatively, the entire channel is going to be classified as for kids. The user is responsible for classifying the video or channel, and if it's a kid's, YouTube turns off targeted advertising and limits data collection. The Department of Justice alleges that Disney failed to take those measures. In a press release, Assistant Attorney General Brett A. Shumat of the Justice Department Civil Division said the Justice Department is firmly devoted to ensuring parents have a say in how their children's information is collected and used. He added the department will take swift action to root out any unlawful infringement on parents' rights to protect their children's privacy. Violations of COPPA can result in significant civil penalties and long-time compliance obligations. And I'm almost done here. In addition to the $10 million fine, the court order requires Disney to create a program ensuring that it won't violate COPPA on YouTube in the future. The statement also notes that Disney is barred from operating on YouTube in a manner that violates COPPA. Essentially, it will be under increased scrutiny. By settling, Disney is not legally admitting any wrongdoing. However, it's clear that children's privacy will remain a priority for the federal government. Ultimately, Disney will serve as a cautionary tale for all content creators working in children's entertainment. As the digital ecosystem evolves, the fact remains that even major companies are not immune from enforcement.
Well, and not only that, yeah, they think they can get away with it. And it's like, yeah, you know, every now and again, they actually have to enforce the rules, on everybody. Because let's face it, the little guys are getting hit with this kind of stuff left and right, making it almost impossible to do.
Shouldn't Disney have known better?
Oh, they don't care. They don't care. They do whatever they can to get away with. Remember, I told you about these guys, using fan-made stuff as if it's their own because they know that this is their IP and they can't be sued. It doesn't make it right.
Yeah, because they steal someone else's thing, since it's their property, their intellectual property, they can do what they want. Yeah,
right.
I don't know. I found this article kind of disturbing myself though, because I leave the kids alone, and it just shows how you, as a parent, you can't really trust Disney.
No, you really, really can't.
And this is the next article. It didn't have pictures to go with. So I just threw up the Magic Kingdom. I see some kind of explosion going on. What is that? Oh, fireworks.
Probably back when they were doing their fireworks. Although, given the way things are falling apart there, it could just be blowing up or on fire.
Disney agrees to $10 million civil penalty and adjustment. Okay, this is a follow-up, but yeah.
Not the follow-up, just to say, yeah, they're not admitting any fault, but why would they agree to a payout if they hadn't done anything wrong? Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, you don't need to go into the next one. I think the headline speaks for itself just fine. Did we lose Boomer?
I'm here. What headline goes?
We're moving on to Young Sherlock. Yes.
Well, there's nothing. Yeah. I think the headline spoke for itself. That's why we're moving on. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there another article that I missed?
No.
It was just a follow-up.
That was what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Young Sherlock the young Sherlock hero finds Tiffin's Holmes is mired in globe-trotting conspiracy in Guy Ritchie's Amazon series release window and first look. Now I know you're the big Sherlock aficionado here,
I do like Sherlock Holmes. Yes, I do.
so let me read this and see if it catches your attention.
Yeah.
Prime Video has released some of the first images for Young Sherlock, starring Hero Finds Tiffin after series as Sherlock Holmes. You can see them above and below. The streamer also revealed that the origin story from Guy Ritchie will premiere on Prime Video in 2026. Young Sherlock follows the origin story of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's beloved detective in a reimagining
Oh God.
of the iconic character's early days. Sherlock Holmes is a disgraced young man, raw and unfiltered, when he finds himself wrapped up in a murder case that threatens his liberty. His first ever case unravels a globe-trotting conspiracy that changes his life forever. Unfolding in 1870s Oxford and adventuring abroad, the series will expose the early antics of the anarchic adolescent who is yet to evolve into Baker Street's most renowned resident. Wait a minute. Adolescent? He's in college.
Well, I guess
technically
he
you
could
could be an
18.
adolescent if you're 18, but I don't. I think adolescent is never mind. Cast includes Donnell Finn from the Wheel of Time series, Zine Tseng, Three Body Problem, Joseph Fiennes, Handmaid's Tale, Natasha McKeown from the Halo series. I see Joseph Fiennes and Natasha. They were in more better things than those. Max Irons from Condor and Colin Firth, The King's Speech. Guy Ritchie directs and executive produced. The series is written and executive produced by showrunner Matthew Parkhill, with executive producers Dana Gilbert, Mark Restigini, Simon Maxwell, Ivan Atkinson, Simon Kelton, Colin Wilson, and co-executive producers Harriet Krellman and Steve Thompson. Motive Pictures led physical production for Young Sherlock. Years ago, we had read about a Sherlock Holmes show being in development for HBO, correct? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And I believe that, and I was like, is this going to be, and Guy Ritchie was involved, and I'm like, is this going to be related to those Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies? But are they going to be able to get Robert Downey Jr. to do a TV series? Now I see where they're going. It's going to be a prequel series about his college days, which may or may not be tied to those Robert Downey Jr. movies. I'm not sure. And what I believe that what happened was this was another HBO series that Zaslav passed on, which allowed the creators to shop it around. Because this happened with that Batman I'm sure this is what happened with that Batman Gotham Knight show, which HBO passed on. I think they shopped it around and Amazon snatched it up. And I think that's what this is. And this is like the third Sherlock Holmes series on TV right now. Because you have Watson.
Well, and the upside to it is public domain. There's nothing anyone can do about it. So
yes,
there you go.
Are you excited?
Not at all.
I'm not as negative as you about this. We'll see. But again, I like the Robert Downey Jr. movies, and I know you didn't. But I
actually didn't see them. I can't really give an opinion.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay,
no, I've never even seen them.
There's some. They existed.
We've got one, I think.
Do we?
I think so. Yeah.
There was some good wit in there where Robert Downey Jr. is talking to Inspector Lestrade, and Inspector Lestrade says, in another life you would have made an excellent criminal, and then Sherlock says, in another life you would have made an excellent policeman.
Yeah. Well, that's very on point for Holmes. That is the kind of thing he would have said to him, because he was annoyed feeling that he always had to do their job for them.
Yes. So we'll see how this turns out. I don't know. I'm not as negative. It is Amazon, and Amazon can be hit and miss with their shows. I don't know. It's taking place in his college days. We already had Young Sherlock Holmes where he was in high school. Remember that movie?
Yeah, vaguely. That was more comical, right?
No, it was. You know what it was? It was another one of these Amblin movies because Amblin was trying new properties like the Goonies or Gremlins and things like that, where
Gotcha.
they were planning it to be a series, like as a release a trilogy, like the Indiana Jones movies, but it didn't do well enough at the box office. But it had a very Indiana Jones vibe in it, even though Spielberg didn't direct it because it was an Egyptian cult inside of London during Christmas time. There was an Egyptian cult going around kidnapping girls, and it was
Okay.
there's actual recreation of a pyramid inside London. They discover, which I thought was funny, and they would also use this poison to kill people with that would bring their greatest fears to life. So you saw a lot of cool effects in it based on
Okay.
whatever their fears were. Never mind. Okay, it's of its time. I will
Obviously.
only defend. I will defend the movie, saying yes, yes, yes. We know that in the books that they even made a disclaimer in it at the end. We know that Watson and Holmes did not meet each other to much later in life, but we hope that this what if
I
is in the
that
spirit of the
that I
Holmes books. Okay.
that
Yes.
I very much respect
Yes.
because it tells you we weren't trying to get something past you.
Yes.
We know, we're just kind of playing around here. I can respect that. I really can.
Yeah. But I am a fan of Young Sherlock Holmes. Barry Levinson directed Young Sherlock Holmes. That's what I thought it was, but it was under the Amblin moniker, and actually has some early Pixar animation in it. There's a scene where like the vicar or the caretaker of the church he sees a stained glass image of a knight
Right.
jump down and attacks him, and this was early CG effects, and it was like a living stained glass statue attacking him. Of course it's all in his
Interesting.
head, but yeah. But anyway, moving on to MTV channel comes full circle with final clip. Video killed the radio star.
Which, of course, was the first video that was played on
This is kind of bittersweet.
It is. It really is, yes.
It's hard to overstate the impact of the first 24-hour music video channel on the world's teens. But after 4 decades in the advent of Instagram's direct fan connections, the endless variety clips on YouTube, and now the Pandora's box of AI video, the world's flagship movie channel has arguably become a victim of its own success. As such, MTV today stopped showing a 24-hour feed of music videos in the United Kingdom. After 38 years in rotation, MTV Music, MTV 80s, MTV 90s, Club MTV, and MTV Live have all stopped broadcasting in the UK, as well as Ireland, France, Germany, Australia, Poland, Hungary, Australia, and Brazil. Oh, Austria,
Yeah.
sorry. I said Australia twice. Austria, 2 different countries.
Right.
They went out just as the original American 21st Century Music Video channel began, according to the BBC's Jonah Reed, with the Buggles' Sunny video killed the radio star. Not only is MTV ending some of its international music channels, which played music videos around the clock, but the main network is also canceling some of its long-running programming. Although it was a long ago when the MTV flagship played actual music videos in the US, its programming in recent years has been reruns of the clip show Ridiculousness. MTV was heavily trolled for its round-the-clock programming of the long-running series. Earlier this year, sources told Deadline that the show was ending its run after 14 years. In September, it was also reported that MTV had canceled Catfish, the TV show, after 9 seasons on the air. All these changes are taking place amid its parent company reducing its workforce nearly 3 months after the close of the $8.4 billion merger of Paramount and Skydance. Oh, so that's because of the merger. Okay. I mean, the trouble is, it's a cable news staple, right? A cable channel
True.
staple, and cable's going out.
Yep. It sure is.
I feel bad, and I wish they could figure out a way to keep it alive, maybe on streaming, which would have to be Paramount Plus. But I don't know, man. This is just it's kind of sad, actually. This is kind of bittersweet. I don't
is.
know. I mean, we almost did a good old days on MTV tonight.
Right.
Did you have any favorite MTV memories?
When they actually played video.
Yeah,
videos.
I did. I used to, and that really was it. That was your, you'd hear these songs that you liked on the radio, and then you'd go, and if there was nothing on TV that you wanted to see, which middle of the day there usually wasn't, you just click on MTV and just listen to music. And sometimes if it was a song you like, you'd stop and watch the video, and you'd be like, wow, there's a whole other story here, And sometimes those videos would really just kind of capture your imagination, you know?
Or they're just so weird. You're like, okay, who the heck thought this up?
Oh, what was the one Herbie Hancock? Was that
Yeah.
Rocket? It was
Yeah.
like, because it was just
Love that
music,
video.
right? And it's like, what the heck is this? You know? But,
MTV just
loved
shut
it.
down in Europe. They didn't end in the US. Not yet, Tim Hayes, but we're worried the writing's on the wall. I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because, but it's, I remember being a kid and seeing Michael Jackson's Thriller on in broad daytime, and I'm seeing these zombies
Yep.
with the blood coming out of their mouth, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, what
Yep.
is this? It's scaring
Yeah.
me, you know? It's like, but yeah, no, I'll miss MTV. I mean, I was more of a '90s teen when I was watching MTV, and I know that's when they had fewer videos on. They did do stuff that was still music related though, like they did MTV Unplugged, where they get a band to basically do live in front of an audience, which I thought was cool.
Right.
They did Yo MTV Raps. They did, I think, Headbangers Ball. Was that another one they did?
Oh yeah, I
They
remember.
they
Headbangers
did
Ball.
different music things would have their own shows, and but yeah, I think. I don't know. I think it was the same problem that the Weather Channel had, where people tuned into the Weather Channel for 30 seconds, and they might turn to MTV for a few minutes, but then they turn it off. And I think they were trying to figure out a way to keep people stuck on the channel. But
Yeah, that's true, because you almost had to think of MTV other than, you know, certain shows where they'd have countdowns or whatever. It was very much more like I said, I'm not watching anything else. I'd like to listen to some music. I'm going to put on MTV, you know.
MTV in the US stopped playing music videos many years ago. You had to get MTV2. I remember MTV2. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, if you want music videos, get MTV2. Was that extra money too? We're just not going to give it to you.
You know, there were so many different packages for cable. I honestly couldn't tell you. I do not remember.
They haven't helped themselves by pushing a lot of activist crap. Well, no, they haven't.
That's for darn sure.
And don't forget about Beavis and Butthead. I will never forget about Beavis and Butthead. Did you know I got for Christmas? I got a Beavis and Butthead box. You know, like they make theme boxes with different paraphernalia in them. Used to get them by mail and things like that. I forget what they were called.
Oh yeah.
Like the
Oh,
Geek
okay.
box or whatever they used to call those things you got in the mail. Well, my sister got me a Beavis and Butthead one, and it came with a little stuffed figure of Beavis as the Great Cornfolio. I got a pin of Butthead dressed like David Letterman, like he was in that one episode where they had him dressed as Letterman, because I don't know. It had a lot of cool little things in there. Like I had a lanyard saying "You're a dumbass," and I'm tempted to put my my employee badge on that on that lanyard and just say "You're a dumbass" on it, and see if I get yelled at. But anyway,
That is funny.
no, Beavis and Butthead. Liquid Television was a big fan of that. Eon Flux when that was on. I missed their cartoons. They used to make these really edgy cartoons. It's sort of what I was into
Yeah.
before anime became really a thing over here. Like I think they did Image Comics, the Max, MAX. They did an animated series based on that I thought was very well done back in the day. But unfortunately, I don't know, man. It's the times change, and the '80s and '90s are long past. That's why we try to preserve it here in the spirit of the
That's
'80s and '90s.
exactly
here on the
right.
channel.
That's exactly right.
I can still play my Nintendo 64 games, you know, and hope for better days ahead. But anything left to say about MTV? I guess we'll
Nope.
keep an eye on it, see what happens over here. Harry Potter and Star Wars actor earns hold on, I lost my spot here. Earns OBE and New Year's honors list.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis, obviously, that's who they're talking.
Very, very deserving of. Well, I actually don't even know much about this award, but he deserves just about any accolade he's
Yes.
presented with.
I've been a big fan of Warwick Davis for a while.
Yep. And since Peter Dinklage doesn't want him to ever work again, you know, I think he should get all the awards.
Yeah, veteran actor Warwick Davis, known for his iconic roles in Star Wars and Harry Potter franchises, has been appointed as an officer of the Order of the British Empire.
Oh, there you go.
I like that.
Oh, the award for you've decided to become rich and continue paying your taxes in the UK. let's give you an award. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
That's really what it comes down to.
Well, anyway, he deserves an award regardless. Okay. Anyway,
I agree.
The 55-year-old was recognized for his extensive services at drama and charity. The latest accolade follows his receipt of BAFTA's highest honor, the BAFTA Fellowship, in February, where he was celebrated for his performing and advocacy work. Upon accepting the BAFTA, Davis remarked, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I've been in Star Wars." That's funny.
That's funny. Yeah.
During the emotional ceremony, he dedicated the award to his late wife, Samantha, who passed away in March of 2024.
Wow.
I'm sorry to hear that. Together, the couple co-founded Little People UK in 2012, a charity dedicated to supporting individuals with dwarfism and their families. Reflecting on his loss, Davis shared that life had been pretty tough since her death, adding that she was always so supportive of my career, encouraging me to grab every opportunity with both hands. Davis, who was born with, I get this right, I can't read that.
No. It's a type of dwarfism, and I don't remember.
It's a long word, but anyway, he began his illustrious career at just 11, starring as Wicket the Ewok in Star Wars Episode 6: Return of the Jedi. We remember that.
Yep.
His diverse filmography includes roles in Labyrinth alongside David Bowie. Was he Hoggle?
I don't remember. He might have been.
That makes sense. I didn't even think that he was Hoggle, but that makes sense now. The titular hero, Ron Howard's fantasy adventure, Willow, I remember that, and appearances in BBC's Narnia's adaptations. He is also featured in Jack the Giant Slayer, the Leprechaun series.
Oh, yes, that's right.
We almost did Leprechaun for good old days, but I figured we'll wait on.
Oh, thank you so much, Ruby Hoof. Ruby Hoof just gifted a membership to Pop Culture Mechanic. Thank you so much, Ruby Hoof.
I like that title, Pop Culture Mechanic.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, Ruby Hoof.
I got so excited, I just spilled my drink.
Was it?
Oh no!
What was it? Was it beer?
No, it was a diet. You know I'm not a beer.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
But yeah, I spilled my Dr. Pepper. But thank you so much, Ruby. I super appreciate it.
If you need to clean up, I can take over for a bit. Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
The Leprechaun series, and collaborated with Ricky Gervais on extras and the BBC mockumentary Life's Too Short. Oh, have you ever seen Extras? Ricky Gervais's Extras?
I have not. No.
It's so bad. I remember that. It's Ricky Gervais plays a guy who is an extra on movie sets. You understand? That's how he makes a living.
Sure.
And he ends up in all these different movies. And I remember the one with Warwick Davis was this set. Where I think who played Emma Peel again on the Avengers show?
Oh,
what's her name?
I'm drawing a blank. And
why does this happen to me?
Alexa, who played Emma Peel in the Avengers?
Emma Peel was played by Uma Thurman in the Avengers.
No,
I can't believe this nonsense.
Alexa, shut up.
You're useless. You are absolutely friggin' useless.
Why does Diana Rigg? Okay.
Diana Rigg, of course.
Anyway, yes, and Diana Rigg is in there. I guess she's like some white witch, because it looks like a Narnia thing. And then they have Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter movies dressed as like some kind of Boy Scout, and it's like in this winter. And I take it this is some children's fantasy novel I've never heard of. And Daniel Radcliffe is the way they portrayed him on the show, like he's a bit of a horn dog, and he's trying to come on the Diana Rigg thing. And do you think she goes for younger guys? Like he keeps talking to Ricky Gervais about that. There was another one where he was on set in a movie with Patrick Stewart, right?
Okay.
And I think Ricky Gervais said, "Oh, I'd like to collaborate with you again." Okay, and he says, "Okay, yeah, well, we'll make it so." And Ricky Gervais didn't get the reference, like "make it so." He's like, "You never watched Star Trek: The Next Generation?" No. And he's like going, and like he was going in all these things about how you're exactly the demographic that would have watched it, and you've never seen it. Like, like single man, of a certain age or something. Anyway, what happened?
And,
I heard it.
USRNG gave you a Farty Fox, I believe that is, Netter.
I will tell you.
Why do you say Farty Fox?
It's not a Farty Fox. Oh, because the fox, if you look on YouTube, it usually has little hearts coming out of what looks like it's coming out of his butt.
Yeah,
Oh, I
he's
see.
dancing around, kicking his butt from side to side, and each time he puts his butt out, hearts come up
Yeah, so we call
like
it the farty
farts.
fox.
And honestly, I'm sure that's what was intended. So
Well, that's what Lady Miss started calling it, and we just went
Yeah.
with it because we thought it was cute. But this particular one is just a grinning fox.
oh,
see.
okay, it's not a farty fox.
But
Okay.
thank you, Yusanji. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Oh, the horror guy says Stuart was also a horn dog in that episode too, Boomer. Oh, that's interesting. I need to rewatch that whole show. But
One of the things I do like about Patrick Stewart is he tends to not, as many British actors are,
they'll
they
poke
they
fun at
tend to not-
themselves. Yes.
yeah, they don't take themselves so seriously that they can't laugh at themselves.
Because like Kate Winslet was on it too. Like they're all playing worse versions of themselves, but as
Sure.
themselves on the show.
Right.
Do you understand? Like Kate Winslet was. I think she was like playing a nun in like some thing where she's like protecting Jews from a certain German group. You know what I mean? And it was
Right.
this like some serious like Oscar bait type movie, and like she's being
Sure.
very inappropriate when the when the cuts are going on. But yeah. Good on Warwick Davis. Always a big fan. Big fan of those Leprechaun movies, huh?
Yeah, I haven't seen all of them, but the ones that and some of them get kind of humorous. Again,
Yes.
not taking the genre that seriously.
I find them absolutely terrifying.
Of course you
Of
do.
course. No, there was one that I think I don't know if it's in the second or third one. It might be the third one where he goes to Vegas, right?
Okay.
And he runs into like this Elvis impersonator, all right? And the Elvis impersonator goes, "I like your shoes, little man." He says, "I like your boots too." And they actually have a nice moment, and he doesn't do anything bad to the Elvis impersonator. Do you understand? They have a nice little moment there.
Well, yeah. I mean, even
Because I guess he's showing him respect or something, so he didn't
even the evil leprechaun, has to respect the king. Come on.
Yes, exactly. And then they did Leprechaun in Space, and then Leprechaun in the Hood, which I think
Yes, they did.
There were two Leprechaun in the Hood movies, as I recall. So, good on Warwick Davis for being in those movies. I'm telling you, man, the Leprechaun, those are some classics. We never got the Chucky versus Leprechaun movie though that I wanted to see.
Oh God, that would be cool.
All right, and last up, we have a barren wasteland, and no, this is not from a new Mad Max movie. This is modern California still, apparently. So.
Yes, it is.
I figured I'd do this. We're about a year out from the wildfires, correct?
Yeah. We have such great leadership in the wonderful state of California, and because of the way that they have arranged things, you can't get permits to build, even when your house burns down or your business.
Apparently, Adam Carolla has been doing videos about it. Nope, still still wasteland. Like he's shooting all these locations that still have not been fixed since the thing. 1 year after the wildfires, 13% of damaged homes have a rebuilding permit. I need to reiterate: 13% have a rebuilding permit. They've not necessarily even been rebuilt yet, and only 13% even got the right to rebuild.
There are so many ridiculous restrictions and regulations because it's all about, ostensibly it's all about, environmental impact and nature and all this BS, when really what it is it's graft and pay people to do stuff.
So the rebuilding of homes destroyed at the January LA wildfires has had a slow start, but permitting rates picked up in December, according to a report by Doug Smith, Jack Fleming, and Colleen Shelby in the Los Angeles Times. Around 12 to 13% of homes in Altadena and the Pacific Palisades have received rebuild permits, a rate roughly half that of Santa Rosa, another community significantly impacted by fire in recent years. Fire victims face significant obstacles: understaffing at city agencies, supply chain delays, insurance gaps, and a strained labor market slowing construction timelines. The article explains LA City is processing applications in 79 days on average, while LA County lags behind at 131 days. However, the authors note that the county had applications for around 3,000 homes, while the city received applications for just over 1,400 in total. The county had issued permits for 931 residences by December 14th and city 604. The city issued a first certificate of occupancy for a home in Pacific Palisades in early December, and an Altadena home received the first certificate in that home area later that month. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
And I'm assuming these are the ones that got the insurance money, or at least can afford to rebuild out there too. Because I got to tell you, when you don't have a house, you're
right.
You're basically homeless until you can get your house back, and it's ridiculous. And I don't know. I would think more celebrities were bringing attention to this out there, but I mean, this has directly affected them.
What's happening here, and let's be very clear. There's people that can't afford to leave, so they are stuck in this problem, which,
yes,
as you point out, contributes to the homeless situation. But there's another group of people that can afford to rebuild, want to rebuild. As they run into more and more problems, many of them are starting to say, you know what? We're just going to go elsewhere. And they're leaving. And they're taking their tax dollars with them.
Well, here's part of the problem, USRNG, about taking the money and run. I think it depends on your insurance, because you might be required to get that money that you have to rebuild what you lost.
That is the other point.
Yeah.
There are some people that are in a situation where you get money to rebuild, but you have to rebuild. That is part and parcel.
Now, once you rebuild, if you then want to sell your house and move elsewhere, you can. But you can't just build a house.
But the average person may not be able to even afford that.
Yeah,
they have nowhere to live. They can't rebuild. So the idea of taking the money, rebuilding, and then moving elsewhere isn't even an option for them.
Yeah, awful. But I don't know. I would have figured they would have been further along by now, because I think of this area, especially hit by California, I think money. This is where all the movers and shakers are in the entertainment industry, and
yeah, that's true. But you also have the situation where you have a lot of people that are losing. I've always said this. We assume that all celebrities are wealthy, and that's not really true. They're not going to publicize this a lot, but there's a lot of Hollywood personalities that are now suffering with the rest of the industry not being able to get jobs, getting much more lower paying jobs than they did, so they can't afford the upkeep on whatever properties they used to have. Then they've been hit by this. Yes, you can guffaw and say they're reaping what they sowed, but at the same time, the reality is the reality.
I left California 23 years ago and haven't looked back. I hear a lot of people share that sentiment, actually.
Yeah.
Greetings from the Delightful Mountains of Repente.
Welcome. Good to see you there, Mark.
All right. And that brings us to the end.
We are at the end. That's right. We are at
This is the end.
My only friend.
Yeah, sorry. Now we're going to get demonetized.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Because you can't even sing a lyric of a song. This is ridiculous.
That is assuming that the algorithms actually recognize the belly aching that I do as singing. So I'm probably safe.
I don't know. So what did we learn tonight? MTV's in trouble, but to be fair, just make it cool again. Just please do something. I'm dying here. I'm dying for the new thing. It's 2026. Where is the new thing? Hollywood, no one's going to be nostalgic for the 2020s at the rate you're going. I mean, what are you going to be able to, you're not going to be able to sell people on nostalgia of the 2020s in the future. Better off doing the 1920s at this point. I mean, it's
yeah, exactly.
The 1920s is probably been more fun than this decade. I mean, it's granted you had speakeasies and St. Valentine's Massacre and all that, but have a good time.
Yeah.
Have your Victrola, you know.
Honestly, I think if we're really objective, we realize that the more things change, right, the more they stay the same. It's always been a question of the haves and the have-nots. If you are wealthy, you're going to ride through the storm, whatever it is, right?
Yes.
But if you don't, you're screwed, and that's just
Yeah.
the way it goes. So, welcome to life. No one's getting out alive.
This is true, and you can't take it with you.
That's true.
And I don't know what we're going to be talking about next week. I'm hoping that we'll get some information on. I need to. Okay, I have a question. Your professional opinion. How long do you think this whole Netflix Warner deal is going to take to iron out?
I don't see it getting taken care of within 2026. If they're going with Netflix as they appear to be, it's going to get tied up in litigation for some time.
Okay.
If they decide to go with, and I'm not even going to bother finishing that sentence because they do not want to go with Paramount. But if they did, it might go a lot smoother. It's not going to, though. So they're going to make sure that let me be very clear. Zaslav is going to make sure that he gets as much money as he can out of this deal. That's why he wants to sell it all off piecemeal. That's why he's going with Netflix and refuses to go with Paramount.
Yes.
The shareholders have got to step up and speak for themselves. Because otherwise he's just going to run ramshackle over not only this company, but the entire industry. Those people that I was saying that are having problems because we're not getting movies out. They're not, there's less demand for entertainment, worried about their jobs, AI, all this kind of stuff. Well, this doesn't help. This really does not help. And if the cinemas die, which is what's going to happen if Netflix, and Paramount merge, you're gonna end up working for just individual studios for much less than you were,
and no residuals.
Congratulations, Hollywood, you're dead.
Anyway, on that happy note, what do we have coming up this week?
Well, tonight, stay right where you're at on my channel and Netter's channel. We are going to get you over to deleted scenes for reserved seats. That reserved seat happens to be taken up by Outlaw Bill tonight, who's going to tell you all about what he's got coming up in the new year. I guess he's got a lot of moving and shaking going on that he's going to tell you about. And then after you finish up there, come on back over to my channel, and we're going back to the beginning of Doctor Who, and we're going to watch the first 2 episodes of Doctor Who, starting with An Unearthly Child. William Hartnell, whose birthday is coming up this week Thursday.
I always liked the actor who played him on the what was it, the movie about the making of Doctor Who, right?
Yes, I'm forgetting his name. He was also in the
Harry Potter,
Game of Thrones, and a lot of he was in a lot
yes. Well, he often plays not likable characters, so I appreciate the fact that he got to play the Doctor at least, because he's always playing. He played a really despicable character on Game of Thrones.
He really did. Yeah, that whole red wedding thing. If you know, you know.
Oh, I was having fun with people when that happened. It's like, hey, did he do a little dance? Like I was pretending to be on the side of the.
David Bradley, that's his name.
I had to be on the side of the Lannisters because it's well, because they were the worst, I guess, weren't they? But
absolutely.
I always loved the Game of Thrones villain quiz I took once, though. I did one of those.
Why? Who did you end up being?
The Night King. That's who I won.
Oh,
the big bad beyond the wall, the undead king thing that's going to come and ruin everything. And when I did another quiz, which I guess was like the regular characters, I got Daenerys as the one who I was, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, but if I was Daenerys, I'd spend all day looking in the mirror. Never mind.
Yeah, right.
Moving on. So yeah, tonight can be the premiere of the Doctor Who as well. So that'll be interesting, and you'll get to hear that iconic music for the first time.
Yes, exactly right.
The
Exactly
BBC
right.
Radiophonic Workshop, I believe it was called, right?
Yes, I think you're
Yes.
right. I think that was it. Yes.
And then tomorrow, what's going on?
Tomorrow is Monday, so it's well, of course, every weekday is Liquid Lunch at noon Central, 1 Eastern. So join me for lunch, of
You
course.
forgot Sherlock Holmes tonight.
Huh?
I didn't hear you say anything about not Sherlock Holmes.
Doctor Who. We just talked about it, sweetie.
Gosh.
We literally just talked about it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
I'm a
she
little
got me distracted. It's happened to me too, Ned, or don't pick up yourself up.
And but Monday, let me double check the post. I did have a poll up, and it's tied again. So members, we have a poll up for what movie we're going to be watching tomorrow night. I need a tiebreaker. It's either going to be Tenet or Sliding Doors. So if you are a member of my channel, please go to the. Actually, you know what? Maybe I just have to put up another poll for just those two movies. It's going to be one of those two movies that we'll
Or you
be
can flip
watching
the coin.
tomorrow. I may end up doing that. Possibly, we'll see. But so members night at the movies. If you're not a member on my channel, please consider it. For as little as $2 a month, you can. There's actually a lot of benefits, including 10% discount on my merch store, weekly Monday night at the movie stream, exclusive movie rewatches, and Deleted Scene says vote Tenet because I know that one, and because it's the one movie on the list I haven't seen. If that means I'll like any movie.
Well, I'll tell you this: if you do put up those two together, I probably won't be able to vote because I think my membership ended.
Interesting. There you go.
And I had voted for Sliding Doors.
Well, as of this afternoon, you were still a member on my channel, so we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's Monday. And then Tuesday,
yes,
of course, Deleted Scenes has his super secret movie night, followed by the return of Live from Sparkwood and 21, which of course, we talk about Twin Peaks as well as Twin Peaks: The Return. So this is the return of the return, but we also have returning guest Cameron from Anonymous and Obnoxious and Anonymous to talk about his fan film project related to Twin Peaks. So that should be a lot of fun. Great way to restart Live from Sparkwood and 21. Immediately after Live from Sparkwood and 21. Immediately after, yeah, pretty much, is the next installment of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the Granada production. The next episode being the Greek interpreter. I almost said geek interpreter again. Okay, that's Tuesday. I'm unaware of anything else going on Wednesday besides Liquid Lunch. So Thursday, Liquid Lunch, of course, and Netter's Network. What are you doing on Netter's Network?
On Thursday, we're going to be celebrating Troy's birthday.
It's my birthday.
He's
so I'm
going to be 585.
I'm going to be 585. That's how old I is. So yes, looking forward to that, and hope to see you all there on Netter's Network. Friday, of course, Liquid Lunch. I'll tell you about what I'll be drinking for my birthday celebration for Last Call, and it'll just be a birthday celebration for me and for William Hartnell and David Bowie and Shirley Bassey and Elvis Presley and Dr. Stephen Hawking. And there may even be someone else I may have forgotten in there. And then Saturday over on Netter's Network, what's the movie? I remember it's Green Lantern, right?
All I had to do to give him the hint to show my fist.
Right, Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
As if I was, brandishing the ring.
Right.
yes.
And there we have it.
Hal Jordan.
Yep.
Classic. Okay,
The
and
one
that'll
that I'm sure that the Gunverse is going to try desperately to make us forget.
they're probably going to make us ashamed of them.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Anyway, y'all have a good week, and we'll see you next time. And hopefully, we'll first true week of the new year. I know we had, but we'll see if there's any interesting news coming out. So we'll see. Catch you next time.
Take care. Bye bye.
Good night.